Hello and welcome to another Nikomedia tutorial. Yeah, I recorded this tutorial now about uh, half an hour or something else, and then I have seen I forgot to press on start recording. So I do it again. Okay, what do we do here today? We recreate this one here. And yeah, this is inspired by Beau Roberts here, and this is his one. I made it kind a little different, but I bring you I give you the link in the description for this Instagram because he has some really nice ideas and some really nice renders. So I recommend to visit this Instagram and let inspire you. And okay, but we do this, and yeah, yeah, and this is my try here. And yeah, I don't know if you see it. The rollers here, they roll, of course, but the compression of YouTube and the other Instagrams and everything, they are so bad that you mostly don't see that because I have a very fine texture on it. But anyways, so what I did, you see, mine is more moving. So they swing a little around because I made this totally dynamic here. And here on this one, you see they are totally straight. They don't move. And yeah, I show you both way how you can do this. Of course, this way is when they don't move, it's much easier to loop. But I show you ways how you can smooth a loop a little bit, and it does not work every time, but most of the time it works or it makes it at least better. So let's start. So we start, of course, with this Helix in Helix thingy here. And yeah, okay, let's go. So let's see if I pressed on record. This is okay. And now, yeah, let's start with the Helix. I make a simple Helix here. And I want the Helix along the x-axis. So let's go to here. Okay. And so make it here 100 by 100 in the radius. Then here I double this amount here to 40 and give it a height of 400. That's cool. So I don't need so many subdivisions on this spline, so I don't need this. And here 50 is this is okay what you see here because we make later a B spline out of this or a Bezier spline, however you want. For me, the B spline is more round. At least I feel it like this. So this is okay like this. Okay, now we need the inside spline. So we need the inside helix. So what we need is the same helix in the other direction. So simply bring this to minus. And you see, we have it now exactly in the other direction. So from the front, it should be like a circle. And this is exactly what I want. But I don't want that they touch, and I don't want the same rotation here. Here I want only one full, so minus 360. Now I have this bricks, which looks nice. And because I have here now, I need much less points here, so let's see, 10, this should be fine, okay. But I need, of course, the inner spline more narrow, so at least in the middle here. Here it should be the same radius, but in the inside less. So we can do this with a bulge deformer. Go to my helix here, and with the helix selected, I hold my shift key and click on the bulge deformer. First thing I see with these arrows here, this is the wrong direction for me. I need this in the X direction. So go plus X and say fit to parent. And this, you see now, this is exactly in the correct direction here. And set it to minus 50. Let's hide the deformer here, and now we see we have a smaller spline here. The radius here and here is okay, but in the middle it's smaller. This is exactly what we want. Let's save this here. Yeah, as I said, I already started with this tutorial, but forgot to record. Good. What's this? So, the next step is we need to make one spline out of these two. So you can select both of them, right click and connect objects. Connect object and delete if you're totally sure you want to stay with this one. I am sure, so I could make a connect and delete, but what I want, I make a connect object and put these two guys inside. And we don't need a weld because the weld does not work on these splines. But when I go now to simply say here current state to object, I have it in my toolbar as you can see, but you can right click current state to object. It gives me one spline, and this is exactly what I want. But here, well, be careful. I go in point mode and show you something. On these two where they meet, you see they are not connected. But it is, even if we put in the connector weld on and go to 5 centimeter, whatever you want, it wouldn't connect these two splines because they are not converted, so they don't have points more than less. So, but here we simply select these 2 points and we weld it together. The weld tool is, the shortcut is MQ, or you right click and yeah, and here you have weld. And then with the weld tool, you click somewhere in the viewport and you see they are welded together. But this now makes one spline, but you see the spline is open here and we don't want to weld this together. We simply go to our connect, to our spline here and say close spline. And now we are happy. So from the side, it looks not really organic here. So let's select this point here and move it a little to the side so that I just eyeball it so that it looks okay for me. So, okay, same here. So that looks quite organic. Nice. Okay. So the next thing I want to do, sorry, is I want the inner spline here, the middle of the inner spline here on the middle point here. So to do this, it should look like this here, but from the side. So I want exactly this one here. And this is very easy. We go to the connect here. First of all, what I want to do is I want to center the axis to my spline here. So I go to here, take the axis center tool and hit execute. So it centers the axis. I have the axis center tool again in my toolbar, but if you don't have it, go to the tools, axis center here. Okay, and now I reset the transform so that everything that the spline goes exactly in the middle of my scene. So reset transform, and now I have it exactly in the middle of my scene. The reset transform, I have it as well here, or I have it here if you have this one here, reset transform, or if you don't find anything, simply hit Shift C in the keyboard and you see if you put in here reset transform, you will find it. And if you want it in a toolbar like me, you can simply drag it out of here and put it in your toolbar. So, okay, that's it now. And now comes this. I want here this profile. I want it here. So what I do is I go to my connect coordinates and rotate it simply 90 degrees. Then 90 here. You see now it's exactly what I want. I want this in the middle here. And now the axis is at 90 degrees, but I want to center this out as well. So I go in my axis tool, enable axis, and set the axis to 0 here. And disable it, now I have it exactly like I want it. You do not really have to do this with the axis center it back to now and so, but for me it's easier, so I can work here with the rotation with 0 and everything. Of course I could freeze the transform here, and so I have it 0 here as well, but I want it like this. So yeah, now we have this here, and this is exactly what I want. The next step is we need a smooth spline, of course. So let's go to the spline object and make it a B-spline. And we have no intermediate points, but we need some. Let's go to uniform. We see I have here 8. You see this is very smooth. Maybe we can go down here. I start at 0 and I go up until 4 is more than enough here. Don't need as many. Okay. Now I have a nice smooth thing. Now we make a sweep out of this. We need a profile on this one. So for the profile, I take an arc spline here. Make it about 20 centimeter here. You see the arc is here, but I need it in the other direction as well. So let's go to 180. Perfect. But I don't want it a half circle. I want it from, let's say, from here to here. So let's go here to 150. And here to 30, and this looks like I want it. Okay, save, and now bring it down here. I select my arc and bring it in a sweep. So with the arc selected, go to the sweep, hold your Alt key, so the sweep becomes parent, and the connect is our path spline. We bring it under the arc, and we get something like this. The arc has too many points here. But you see, this should look, our spline should look like this, our helix, but not like this here. So we need to look everywhere in the same direction, and for this we use the rail spline. In the sweep, you see we have here rails. They use rail scale, direction, and 2 rails. 2 rails is just when you want 2 rails, and with one you want to set the direction, and with one you want to set the scale. But I don't need the scale, so I don't need 2 rails. I need to just use rail direction. And to make a rail spline is very easy. You copy simply your spline here, your path. So I hold my Alt key and drag this guy under it. Whoops. Oops. So wait. So now, no, not the Alt key, this is the Control key. Alt is in Photoshop. Okay. So I have now a copy of my spline here. And this makes this, but because it's in the same, the exact same position. So what I want to do is I drag this a little along the x-axis. 1 centimeter is enough. You see, we have here 0.1 centimeter would be enough. So the spline knows in which direction it has to go. And now everything looks in the same direction. And this is exactly what we need. Great. This almost done. And now we have, of course, this wonderful hypnotizing rotation when we go to our sweep coordinates and we rotate this. Mesmerizing. Okay. Now, yeah, let's set up a rotation here. I have 200 frames, but I want a 360 rotation in 100 frames. In my case, it's 4 seconds because I have 25 frames per second. So on frame 0, I make a keyframe here. Then I go to frame 100 and go to 360 here. Oh, great. So this rotates, but only until frame 100, and then it stops. But I wanted it continues. So we go to a timeline, and here in the sweep, I say, hey, after the animation, simply continue. So what it does now is what it says. After the 100 frames, it simply continues. Great. So and I can later on I want to make this at 500 frames because I'll tell you why later. And you can do this with less frames with the second thing. So with the with show you that later. So now we need some spheres because without spheres this looks nice but not really phew, wow poo. So you know what I mean. Good. Let's make a sphere. And with the sphere, let's give it 15 centimeter. Fine. Okay, we have a sphere. And put the sphere here. So it little above the frame. You see, this is a little smaller, but this is because of this deformation, but we don't see it in the animation later. The only thing we have to care about is that it does not intersect here for the moment. This is okay. Great. So we need more spheres. I hold my control key, drag this to the side. So I have a copy and bring this down to here. Does not have to be very precise because we let do the dynamics the work later on. So this should be fine. So we can get a little down here, so something like that. Just be careful that it does not intersect. So and then we hold our control key and make some copies more. Control, bring it to the side, another one, and another one. Oh, great. Done. Save. The next step is I don't want to put on every sphere a dynamic tag. I want to control it all at once. So what I do is I use a fracture object, put all the spheres in a fracture, and set the fracture to explode segments. And now I need the dynamic tag just on the fracture. And this has a one big advantage. We can use here a cache, MoGraph cache, and this is one big advantage. I'll show you later why. So on the sweep we need of course a dynamic tag, and we need bullet collider body. And I don't want any bounce, friction, noise, nothing. So I wanted this slide on it. Good. And this here we need bullet and rigid body tag. And the same here. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Let's see what happens now. First of all, what I want that the spheres, I want an initial state so that the spheres fall down on our spline, on our sweep, and they come to rest, and then the animation then we start with animation. So first of all, I want to disable this animation of our sphere here, our sweep here. And so that I don't have always to go inside the timeline here and select the sweep and the animation off. I simply drag this animation here in my viewport. See? And now I want to show it always. Fine. Now I can disable and enable it from here. And this is much easier for us to work with. So I disable the animation and let's see what we get. You see, they don't really come to rest. So and they rotate and this is everything I don't want. Sorry. So let's go to here. And instead of automatic, let's go to ellipsoid. That looks much better, but it still slides around. So let's go to the fourth. And give it for now here 99, it's quite high. And we can go in the project settings, Control D. And in the bullet tag, we can go up here, the collision margin, I want 0.1, so I want almost no margin, and yeah, go with the sub-steps up to 10 or so. That should be fine. So let's see what we get now. And now you see they are totally still, and this is what I want. So I pause the animation, and now where they are totally still, I go to my dynamics tag here, say set initial state. So it should start the animation at this state. When I go to the first frame, you see it starts on this here. Now I can start my animation again. So I activate my animation again and hit play. And you see that works wonderful. But stuff, but yeah, let's go to cycling. But we have one problem. You see, when I go, we have seen the jump now with the first. Normally, when in a loop, the first and the last frame should be exactly the same, or at least the best case. So if you have a small hiccup, yeah, you can hide it sometimes and so. But the best case, it's the same. So what we have here is I want to make here a real loop. So I made the reason I made a colorful sphere here is when you have a colorful sphere, the eyes look at this colorful sphere and do not really look to the other spheres. So where I have some errors inside. So because when I go here, when you see this, everything looks nice. But when this red sphere comes on its first place, you can have a look at this sphere here. That's good, and you will see the error. Then here nothing happens. This is everything fine. But now, I don't know if you have seen it. So this is the I have. Look at this sphere. When you have seen this jump, and this is the reason. I could have hidden this jump a little more with the other camera angle, but this is why I made a colorful. So you look at this colorful and don't look at this small arrows inside. So this is on my totally dynamic setup. With this setup here, you don't need this. With this setup, you can loop quite easy. To show you later how. So, but now I show you what I mean. So I go to 500 frames. I have one circle in 100 frames. I have one full circle. I have five spheres, so I need 500 frames, five circles. Good. Save. So now I could bake this now here, but here I miss one option which is really helpful. And for this, we have now a MoGraph object here, and with a MoGraph object, we can use a MoGraph cache. And the MoGraph cache has this here, a playback loop and a loop blending. So let's build the cache here, bake. So now it's baked. We see that everything works fine. But now the last and the first frame should be the same. And you see this is by far not. But with this blending, let's go to the playback, loop, and blend it. Let's just say 10%. Now we are in the first frame and the last frame. You see? And this nobody sees. But this does not really work like this. So when we stay here, and I go here, everything looks, but when it comes to the end, you will see a big problem. See? Here, that should not look like this. It blends over this is, you see, we have big problems here. Okay, but we can little avoid this. So I go to the frame, take 490 and set it to here to 0 and make a keyframe. And on frame 500, so my last frame, I set it to, let's say, where it's 2% and make a keyframe. So that means when I go now to the end, I have here a small jump, you see, but this jump I could hide somehow with camera angle or something else. Or how I did it was just with a colorful. No, let's go to here. See this? So nobody would see it. Maybe something like that. Yeah, this is something. And now when we go to the first and the last frame, this little thing. Let's simply render it out, and we will see how it looks. Now I've got the angle. The angle is very important here. Yeah, this is it. This we can fine tune later. This is no problem. So save it, and I render here. Make a quick viewport render. 720. Yeah, the viewport render all frames. And here in the viewport render, I have the filter on geometry only, so I don't see any axis or something. And hit render, Shift R. This should render quite fast. So this is it's only viewport render. You see, this is nice. And if we let's go a little back here so that we don't need. It looks nice. And whoops. And you see, you almost don't see the loop if you don't know when it's it. Here it looks a little more because it jumps back here. But when you render this out and make a loop and loop it in the, because when you render out a clip with, let's say, 5 seconds or so, you may go in a video editor program. I work with DaVinci Resolve, and then you bring more clips inside, and then so you don't see the loop. So this is, and if you make it 2 minutes long, this whole thing, nobody waits 2 minutes if it comes a loop or not. Would they see a loop or not? So this is the first thing how you can loop this. And yeah, to prove this with the, you see, we have this sphere here now. This is, when is this? This should be this one here. Yep. Let's make this. This looks here because we have the initial state set to here. The original state would be here for the spheres. That's the reason you see this orange ring here. Let's make a simple material just to show if it's okay. So bring this in there. So we have the red sphere here, and if you play this, oops, you will see it goes nicely to wherever it should go. And it's with 500 frames, it should be on the first frame. And it is, yep. Can simply first frame, last frame. Perfect. Okay. Save it. Now I show you this the other way where we don't have to care about the loops. This is, so I disable for now this baked MoGraph cache here, and I delete the initial state. So we have everything in one row here. This is exactly what I want. And now, so that they don't slide up and down here, I simply make a wall on each side of the spheres. So make a collider of it, and that's it. So let's make a plane, and I want it in the Z direction here. Okay. I know we have 15 radius on our spheres, so I need 30 from each other. I simply make a cloner here. Grid is okay, but I need it only in the Z direction. I need only two of them and 30 centimeter. So they are now trapped inside these two walls here. I copy this collider tag on the cloner. Let's hide this guy here. Now I disable the animation and hit play. So they stand still now. Okay. Go to this dynamic text, set initial state. Okay, now I enable the animation again and hit play. We have a little problem here, see? It falls down. This could be we have the force too high here. 50-50. This should work now. And now you see they don't go up, down, or something. And here, it doesn't matter how many frames you can do this with 200 frames, but then you don't you don't have to use a colorful one, because then the colorful would jump here. So because when you make, let's say, just 200 frames, the red one would be here or here on this one, and when it goes back to the first frame, the red one jumps to here. So that does not work. So you don't use a colorful thing when you use less frames. But with this, you don't have to care about in the loop. So this is. But I prefer my version because it looks more organic. It looks more natural for me. So, but I just wanted to show you this, and so, okay. But so I disable this guy. I disable the collider here, and bring back my cached version here. So now I should have the cached version from. Yep, this is my cached version. Great. Save. So this is the whole dynamic magic thing here. Good. Let's continue and make this a little nicer. And so we need some thickness on our sweep here. Here you can work with a cloth thing here. Let's go. Let's bring the sweep down. Let's give the sweep in our cloth tag, a cloth object, cloth generator, and go with the thickness up to 5 or something else. 5. And we have this, which works. Okay, why not? Or without cloth surface, it's possible too with the arc spline here. Let's disable the sweep. Let's go to the arc spline and hide the rail spline here. So okay, we go to our arc spline, and instead of arc, we can use a ring. And let's say we want 5 centimeters, 25, and we have this here. And if we sweep this guy, we have also thickness on this. And if we put this in a subdivision surface, we have a really nice, smooth thing going here. And of course, everything works. Okay. Good. So let's disable this NV. And let's make this rollers. Rolling. Good. So we need a cylinder along the x-axis. Great. Poof, the 50 is okay. Make it 400. We don't need any height segments. Here we can. I can go to 50 as well, but I have it. It's 16, 32, 48. Always step of 16 for me. So. Okay. And this should be fine so far. Yep. Let's bring it. So touch here. So okay. And put this simply in a symmetry object. Let's make a symmetry object. I can use it directly with an Alt key, so that, okay. The symmetry should go along XY, I think, or XZ, XZ. Yeah, we will see. But nothing, we see nothing, of course, because the cylinder is exactly in the middle of the scene. So we have to bring our cylinder to the side a little bit. And then, when we go here to, okay, now you see it works. So let's bring this to, let's see, 70. Okay, and now go to the symmetry object and drag it up here. Something like that. Okay. Save it. Okay. Nice. But now with the symmetry, we have a little problem because we want to rotate, of course, our cylinders as well. But when I rotate this cylinder here in the symmetry object, you see the other cylinder rotates in the opposite direction. And this is, of course, what we don't need. So, good. We can avoid this simply when we put this again in a fracture object. So, put the symmetry in a fracture object. The fracture object gets a plane effector. So have a look at the effectors. Yeah, it's in, because when it's not inside, simply drag the effector inside. But if you activate the generator here and then use an effector, it will automatically come in. So, and if I go in the plane effector now and say the parameter rotation, to rotate, oops, this is, I have to go to the fracture and tell it, hey, explode segments and connect. And now they rotate in the same direction. Yeehaw! So in which direction they have to rotate? In the left in minus. Yeah, here in this direction, in minus direction. And let's try the same as with 100 frames, 360. Let's try it. Keyframe, frame 100, minus 360. Maybe it's a little too fast. We'll see it. This is too fast, I think. We see it little. Let's put, we don't need this one here. Let's bring this, make a new material. This is just, maybe I make a physical render version out of this because the Octane version you can already download. But I thought about that I don't know if I said it already in the last tutorial, in the last try to make the tutorial I said it, but it was not recorded. I think about it to make just the tutorials without texturing. Yeah, of course, if it's something tricky to texture, I will show it. But if it's a straight ahead to texture, I showed it so often, and you can download the project file with the textures and everything and textured it. And so I think about to leave the texture part, but we will see. I'm not sure. So, but okay, now let's make a simple surface something tiles or checkerboard and bring it on the cylinder. So we see it a little better. 5 should be fine. Okay, that looks perfect. But we are in the wrong direction, I think. Oops. In plane effect, we have to. Let's go to 360. Yeah, this is the right direction. Yep. And now here the same. Let's go to this guy, show track. Plane effector and simply continue. Okay. Great. Good. We have this now. That's nice. Oh, we don't need this. We can delete this one for now, but we can stay it and make it later. Now we need yeah, just a case or whatever. Let's do this. We have the cylinder. They are 70 out here and they are 400 high and 50. Okay, that means let's hide something here. Boop, 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 boop. Make a folder here so we can put in the connect here, which is just cloner. Can put in the cloner here. And the cloner I leave here. This is the walls so that we know what it is. Okay, and what one I want to hide is the sweep here. So Helix. Okay. And we don't really need the spheres to see now. This is just for the moment. Good. Now let's make a rectangle. As that's 400, so make it a little bigger. 405. Okay, this is fine. And here we had 70. And let's copy the symmetry here. Oh no, make a new one. There. Put this in a symmetry. Oh, here we need this. I want the rectangle, so symmetry, symmetry, symmetry. Ding, 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 ding. Symmetry. So, and the rectangle we had 70 here, so minus 70. Okay. And the rectangle should be, well, the height must be 100 here. Make it a little bigger, 105. So, that, yeah, now they cover nicely the rollers here. And make another rectangle. And this one a little bigger, so let's say from here, what is this, 500 to 300 by, don't want to make it too big. This 450, okay, 450. Okay, that looks quite nice. So now I bring the symmetry in a connect so that I get one spline here. I connect, and now I make a spline mask with this rectangle and this one here. So what I do here is I want here known. Because these are rectangles, we don't need any known. Good. This in the spline mask and the connect as well. So this nice. But I don't want it along the z-axis, I want it along the y-axis, because we need it in this y-axis direction. So y. And here we have to go to OR. So now we have this nice spline here. And when we put this nice spline in an extrude, go. It's an auto set, but yeah, you can Y or auto. Auto is okay for me. If you have older version, you don't have this auto, but it of course it goes into y-axis, and so go to minus 30 or something like that. Minus 50, make it like this, and bring this whole thing down to somewhere like here, the middle of our rollers, somewhere like here. That looks perfect. Minus 150, 58, 158, oopsie, minus 158. Okay, maybe let's make this a little bigger. This is the cool thing here, you can change anything here. Okay, that looks nice. So, of course, this we have to be rounder here, everything. But we could simply put this in a bevel deformer. Because when I make this here, when I take the extrude and make the extrude here rounder, so let's see. Here we get this. But it does not round our edges here, so this is not what I want. But we could do this, and we could then make the rectangles, this is the big rectangle, give the rectangle rounding. So, but in this case, of course, we have set everything to known here. Here I would have to go to adaptive, say 25 or so, and we have this rounding here. Same we can make on the inside here. When we put this rectangle here, rounding like that, and adaptive 5, so we get something like this. Yeah, this is nice, but we could use a bevel deformer as well. But it looks quite nice. Okay. Or let's make it. Yeah, show it away with the bevel deformer as well. So let's make this 0. Let's make this no rounding. Make this no rounding. Now I could go back with the adaptive, but everything is straight, so that doesn't really matter if known or adaptive. And if you want a bevel on the extrude, I have to put extrude in a null object with Alt G. And under the null object, I bring in a bevel. Bring the bevel to 3. This 1, 2, 3. And that bevels everything. We have here a little shading problem, if you can see this. So let's go to fog break rounding. And you see, no problems anymore. It's maybe the easier version. So save. Okay, nice. Then let's make some feet here on the thing. This should be quite easy. Let's make a sphere. Don't know how big, maybe 20. And bring it down to here. So in the half of that should be in the half of our. So this here, the half. This should be fine. And sphere, so bring the sphere. What is this here? This is our, let's say, base. Okay. The sphere in a, yeah, in another symmetry. We are symmetry freaks. So let's see what has happened here. I want this guy somewhere like here. So go to the symmetry. Wrong one. Wrong one. Ah, stupid me. I moved the symmetry object, not the sphere. I have to move the sphere. And we put this symmetry in a symmetry. Yeah, so set this thing here, and now we want to move this symmetry in this direction, and we have our 4 feet here. Great. Something like that. Yep, that looks okay. Save. Okay. So I have to make a short break. I have to drink something. So, okay. Now we have this. And now we need just a big cylinder under this whole thing here. On these cylinders here, I wanted to do something. And I wanted to make here. I have to fill it. A radius 5. Here is 0. Let's bring the. Now we know now that this will rotate in the correct direction. And I have this sharp rounding, and I want a little bevel on these sharp roundings as well here. So I don't have to put this in a subdivision surface. So I bring under my cylinder here a bevel. And bring it 1, 2, 3. Now I have a nice rounded edge here. Something like that. Yeah, that looks nice. Okay. Another cylinder. Cylinder. Bring it down. Oh, this is the down. Come on, now I drag this down here. So we need here the rooks. Okay. Maybe make this a little bigger here. So the radius. Let's give it, oopsie, 350. Maybe 400. Okay, far more hard. So nice. No things here. That looks great. Make it higher. Doesn't matter how high because a good time, a good time. Okay. Nice. Nice. Maybe it would be even nicer if we see something here. Helix. Okay. Can make this even smaller, maybe to 350. So we can go a little closer. Yeah, that looks much better for me. So I want to see here. Let's make a camera and let's go to maybe 50 here. Okay. So that we can see most of them. I don't want to hide all of them. When I go to something like this, I would hide all these, but it rotates, so you see it. You see them, but something like that, I would say, is nice. So be sure that we are quite in the middle here. We can go to the camera, composite it, and go to the grid. So that helps us to see if we are. So here I am on the side, go a little to the side. Perfect. Okay, I can hide the camera. Yeah, if you hide the camera, don't forget that you want to enable the grid. You won't see a grid. This is, you have to unhide the camera, then you see the grid as well. So, give it a protection tag here. And now, here, I want to do the same with the caps. I want to fill it. So, something like that. Empty. And here again, the same. Bevel, I just copy this bevel over to here. Okay. And that looks nice. This is all we need here. Now it comes to the. So first of all, let's play. You see, we have this wonderful thing. But I want to see a little more of the spheres. Yeah, so that looks nice. And so we see the spheres. Okay. Yeah, that looks much better. So we see the sphere is nice. Okay. Ooh. What now? That's almost it. So we can start to. Yeah, we can start to. Yeah, I do a little texturing. So first of all, I stop the recording and then I back so that I have at least this part of my recording if something happens. So now I have at least this. I don't know how long it was now, but I have this one. If I crashed something or so. Good. Yeah, this is very easy. So as I said, let's until the Octane render version is already online, and let's make a physical render version here. So okay, so we can make a red metal material here. Let's go to reflectance, conductor, and 5, and nice red material here. So we can hide with NA, with NQ I can hide. Not NQ, not N8 I can hide the lines so that we can even make just so that it looks a little better in the options. We can SSO so we get some contact shadows here. Okay. And then, so this is this one, copy this one and make a silver one out of this. Whoops. Oh, so I make it right so that we have a silver one. And we put this on the rest of the spheres. Sphere. Okay. This is so great with this viewport. Normally you don't have to render anymore. You can that viewport render looks so nice. Look at this. Save. So then we need another metal for the sweep. Here I want to make something like copper or so. So this is the sweep. Here I know these are the spheres, so the sweep. And we have already a copper in the pre, I think, yeah. So let's go to our Helix. So nice. Maybe reddish, so something like that. Okay, nice. And maybe here I make a little pen. So yeah. Then for the rollers, I'll go to my PR textures. These PR textures you can download on Patreon. So cloth and fabric. Let's see if I have this one I used in the original one. The original I made with Octane, but maybe no, I don't have this thick wool. But I can create it and then I can put it in here. Yeah, let's do this. Because in the Octane here, so I have cloth and fabric, and here I have something called thick tights, and this is what I used. And we can recreate this because here we have the textures for this. So let's go down. You have the thick tight textures. So let's make a new one here. I call it thick tight so we can bring it in my collection later. Tights. Okay. And I bring in the color one, of course. Great. Then the AO, the ambient occlusion, I can bring in the diffusion channel. And I want that it affects only the reflection. Then we have now this place I don't need. I work just with the normal map. But I put it in for later for that you have this place map as well. So, but I don't use it here. So, oh, even with 5. And it wouldn't work in this case because we don't have any subdivisions on our rollers or so, and you need many subdivisions for when you work with displacer in physical render. You can make here sub-polygon displacement, but this would be far too less. So. But with the normal map, we can work. So the metal we don't need really. This is normal map is okay here. And normal map we use definitely. So what do we have in the roughness map? So in the roughness map we can go in the reflections here and go to the roughness. Set the roughness to 100% when I use a texture. That is the roughness. Okay. And yeah, that's it so far. The metal map I really do not need here, so this is good. Let's see how this looks. We do have our rollers here on the cylinder. Okay. It's a little big, so no problem. And that you see it's very, very very nice. So this is, and when you have a strong compression like YouTube or so, you won't see this moving. So it definitely moves. You see that it's no question about it. But maybe let's make it a little brighter here. I can go to the black point a little up here. Nope. Okay, 0. The exposure up here. go to the color channel and try to make here a multiply or an add. So yeah, that looks better. Let's hide the camera here. Okay, save. Now we need this black material with gold edges. And the gold edges we can only make when we make this guy editable here, the base. So so let's make it editable, because so then I can select what I want gold and what I want black. So let's go to the base and put it in a connect object and say current state to object. So if we connect, we can hide this guy here. And this gives us now here, let's hide this guy. This is okay. And then you see this would be okay. This, but what I do, I deselect, I delete all of them because it's very easy to select these guys here. You see, I can select simply, I hold my shift key and select the everything but the rounding. So that's done. And now I want to select only the gold parts. So with UI, I can invert the selection UI. And that's it. So now I make a selection here. Store selection. You can make this select and here store selection. But I have it here. So, and now we can simply texture this with a nice, very diffuse, let's make a space. And I don't want gold edges. I take for the edges the same material like on the sweep. So here I need simple black, dark, a little more roughness here. So 20, maybe more. Let's see it later. So bring it on our space. We can bring this in our backup folder. Bring this base material, you see. And then for the gold, we bring the gold material as well on the base. And we take here in the selection, take off the gold material in the selection slot. Our selection. Now we have only on the roundings our thing here. I have forgotten the inside here, but it doesn't matter. We don't see it, so just forgot to select it. But we could easy to change this. So let's, when I make a new selection, then I can update the selection then. So, but it doesn't matter, as I said, because we don't see it. So this nice black base things I put on the feet as well. These are the feet. Boing. And on the big cylinder as well. Boing. Save. And we would have a nice render here when we render this. Let's try to render this just with the viewport render in this case. And let's see how to get, because in the viewport render you can set up something. You can say, I want here the SSAO. Oh, don't really need the SSAO here, but it doesn't matter. It's the SSAO. And anti-aliasing full, super sampling, why not? and hit just render just one frame here, the current frame. Shift R, and you see, zack, it's rendered, and can even render this 1080. Shift R, and you see we get a really nice render here. But we do it. Yeah, the roll is could be a little different, but okay, this is not what we want. 20 and okay, so we did first a low GI here and a middle GI. Okay, let's start with low GI. How you can make this presets? I already made tutorials for this. And okay, good so far. And I bring in my Nikomedias Scene Rig, of course. We need this now. What we don't need here is the floor. And we don't need the background because we can hold the background. Can use this. And the HDRI, I want to see it by the camera. Seen by camera on, so that should, yep, it's here, definitely. Good, but we want another HDRI. So which one did I use in my original? And have a quick look. Brown Photo Studio. I drag it inside from my tutorial, a project folder file here. So I drag it simply in here. Aha, a non-file format. It's an EXR. Okay, then we do it from here. This one I've used. I see it's in XR, but directly it does not work. It seems. Yeah, this is almost the same spot like in my original one, huh? Yeah, look at this. It's exactly the same spot. Okay. And now let's see how this looks when we render this. We are now in the low GI, in a very low GI setting. So this is wonderful, but it looks nice. Okay. Maybe the red is too reddish here, so let's go to the steep and go back here. Yeah, that's better. The metal looks perfect. This I like as well. What I want is a little depth of field here. So let's go save and let's go to the camera. And here we have a focus distance. You can use a focus object as well. I often do this when I want to change the focus or animate the focus. So I simply put a null object inside and drag it to where I want it and put it as a focus object. But in this case, I can simply go to this eyedropper here and say I want, let's say, this should be my, or this should be my focus. You see now we have 1030 focus. And now in the physical, the f-stop, as smaller this number, as more depth of field you get. So let's start with 1. And we can preview this a little bit. We can go to the options and say depth of field. You see, 0.3. See, 0.5. But it does not look like in the render. But you will see when I go now in the render, I have no depth of field. You have in the physical render, you have to activate depth of field. Here in the low GI, physical, and you have to activate the depth of field here. So and when I render it now, I get my depth of field. And here I see it's maybe a little too much. 0.8. Yeah, that looks better. And let's make a still with the middle GI render settings here. So don't forget so 720 by 720 ratio current frame, and let's see how this looks. Okay. Maybe you hear the cooler from my new CPU, but I think you don't hear it because DaVinci Resolve got a new great effect things that can just destroy every every noise what is not a voice. Every noise what is not a voice. That's good. Look at this. We are a little grainy here, but the render time. Okay, this is now I render with a 13900K CPU, so this is a beast of a CPU. And 16 seconds, but you see a little grain here. I don't know if you see it, but this we can avoid. Simply go to the effects and bring in a denoiser. And now Shift R. The denoiser works after the render, so that it means that this is a post effect. So when the render is done, the denoiser works. So yeah, this is a little slower than now. Now I don't have any grain here. I have nothing, and but it takes away a little texture from here. Let's see. No, it does not. We don't see the texture. I make the texture a little bigger here, but yeah, it's not a lot of difference. But because the render here is without the denoiser is nice already, but with the denoiser it looks great. But of course, I would make then the animation and then maybe a little vignette around it and something else, and that's it. Here I want to go to the stick. No, not here. I want to make the rollers. This is the rollers. Rollers. And make this a little bigger here, maybe 50 by 50. So, save and render. Okay. And now we see nice, but it has some dirt things in here that we see it nicely. They are, I think they are on the map. Oh, they are directly on the map. Let's open this. How can I did? Can I double click it here? You see, this is a very big texture here. It's the same. No, I don't. So this is the. No, it is the. Here in the AO we have this. Here we have this. This is nicely here. We have the dirt things here going. That's the reason we see it so nice here in this. And Shift F6 is the. So we can bring here something down. Delete it. What's that? Oh, go back to 100% here. Okay, yeah, this is a really nice render. But I always would recommend to make a little post work, because this is so. Then let's say a vignette around it, and so this is always a nice thing. I don't know. Can we put this in the filter? Has the filter vignette? I don't think so. Adjust exposure, saturation. No, this has no vignette. But it's simple to make every video program, I think, has a vignette effect, so to make just the edges a little darker. Né? But you can, of course, play with the filter here. And yeah, let's see what's contrast here. Saturation, little up. That looks nice. Yeah, whatever you want. But if you wanna save a still like this with the filter, don't forget when you go to save image as, you have to activate here use filter. Otherwise it would save it without the filter. So okay. Yeah, looks nicer. See? Okay, I think we are done. We have a really nice thing. Yeah, the physical render, as I always say, that I still like the physical render. And it's the only thing it needs longer to render, and but you can fake a lot with the physical render. What is nice, and if you're a real patient, you get every time a nice result. So this is okay. Nothing more to say, I would say. I hope you like this one. I really like it. So I really like this one, and it was fun to do. And yeah, the next tutorial, maybe the next tutorial, I don't know when the next tutorial will come. It will be nothing crazy. I think so. It's here. Let's see if I can. Yes, to my things here. It will be this one. And this, yeah, it starts to rotate and so you see it goes something like this then. But this will be a Patreon tutorial because it was a Patreon request, and yeah, and I only make the free tutorial from a Patreon request when the Patreon writes, especially, yeah, I can make an open tutorial for it, because otherwise it would be a little unfair when a patron gets a tutorial what everyone can get, and he's a patron. Okay, so this one, I honestly I don't. It was a request, but I honestly don't know if the requesting guy is a patron or not. I forgot to. Oh, shame on me! I forgot to have a look. But hopefully, if he is a patron, hopefully he is not bad about me or something else that I made a free tutorial out of it. Sorry, I did not look about. Okay, so yeah, if you have requests, if you have complaints, if you yeah whatever, if you have questions, you can reach me almost everywhere in the internet. So and yeah, here in the comments on on my Facebook site, on our Facebook group, on my website, on Instagram, and on not Twitter. I don't like Twitter. I sometimes post something on Twitter, but I don't like Twitter. This is, I don't know why, but it's not for me. And yeah, so the rest that I can say, I wish you a wonderful rest of the Sunday. Here it's 9 p.m. now, Sunday 9 p.m. And yeah, oof, yeah, next tutorial will come as soon as possible. But you know, if during the Christmas holidays and so it's a little busy, and not really with the work, not really with the job, but with family and friends, of course. And yeah, okay, that's it. I wish you all the best. Please show me your results if you think about it. And I always be happy when I see the results. And yeah, all the best hier from Austria, Vienna, und tschüss und baba.